Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. We have a little bit of a golden hour moment in here today, and it's not the sun coming in because we don't get sun in this apartment. It's actually the sun reflecting off an apartment like literally across from me, which is fun for me, but also not fun because it's like there's a light directly in my eye, but we're going to roll with it. We're going to roll with it. So today's episode is something that I want to talk about because we are getting into that season of people and there's nothing wrong with this at all, but a lot of people are wanting to lose weight and they're wanting to lose weight fast because summer is coming. So the intention with today's episode is to really dive deeper into why you want to lose weight, your intention behind it, and how you can do it in a better way so that you're not going into it and setting yourself up to fail. And now I want to preface with there's nothing wrong with wanting to lose weight. Please hold that in your head when I get through all the contents of this episode. But like I said, it's going to cause you to think a little bit more about your intentions, your reasoning, and everything behind it. So first things first, generally everyone goes into their weight loss journey because they want to feel happy and they want to feel more confident and they want to feel, better in their skin and they'll be happy when they lose weight. I know that was certainly me. I was like, I'll be happy once I lose weight. And 30 kilos later, I was not happy. So that is a story I'm going to get into in a little bit. But like I said, I want to talk about depending on kind of the route you take, quote unquote route you take, will depend on how you go about it. So, the question is, do you want to be healthier? Do you just want to be happier? Do you just want to be skinnier? If there's something health related, I want to feel better in my skin, or, maybe I want to clear my skin, or maybe I want to feel less tired or less sluggish, or maybe I want to feel fitter. These are all really great reasons to lose weight. If it is something I want to lose 10 kilos in the next 3 months for my friend's wedding, then that is where you're setting yourself up to fail. You're putting that time pressure on it. And then when you don't hit that number by then, you are going to feel shit. You're going to feel like a failure. You're not going to feel confident at all. Or you go the other direction and you lose it all by then, but you do it so drastically that when the wedding's done and, it's literally done and it's over and you go back to life, you put it all back on because you've done it so restricted and so drastically that there's no way to maintain it. So I'm going to dive in a little bit behind my story and how my experience with this. So then we're just going to go from there. I'm pretty sure that's how we're going to, I'm looking at my notes. Again, I've got so many notes. You guys don't even know how much is in my brain that I literally have to throw onto some paper before I get into this episode. So like I said, I'm going to draw on my own experience here. So originally in 2017, it was April 2017, I was feeling shit about my weight. It actually had started December 2016, but I didn't take any action till April 2017. So let's actually go back to December 2016. I specifically remember it because it was my brother and my sister-in-law's engagement party, and I was shopping for an outfit for the event, and I was shopping with mum, and I've always hated shopping because nothing ever fit me. I struggled to find clothes. I didn't feel good in anything, and I always was quote unquote the bigger girl out of the family. Looking back at, photos and videos from my childhood, I'm I really was not that big, but that's how it always felt, comments from family members saying I put on weight, and it was just really it was always something that played in my head. So December 2016, mum and I were going shopping and we were trying to look for an outfit, and I literally could not get anything anywhere that fit me. And I remember going to Kmart and I got this jumpsuit, size 16, which in my head, it doesn't sound huge. But I remember feeling so fucking defeated because I was just I can't believe that I've had to go to Kmart to get a size 16. I can't even buy something nice for my brothers. It was nice. Don't get me wrong, I actually still have the jumpsuit because it's a bit of a core memory for me. But I wanted to, buy something special for my brother's engagement party because, he's only having one. So yeah, I wanted to buy something really special for that. And I remember feeling so defeated because I was I've ended up in Kmart with this random bloody jumpsuit and just, yeah, feeling really shit. So I always knew I was a bit heavier, all the things. I had put on a lot of weight. I was nearly 3 years into dating my ex at that point. I'd put on a lot of weight. That night is also a core memory for other reasons. It's actually just come back to me and I'm ooh, I feel I could tear up a little bit. But anyway, that's a whole other story. That's a bit of a trigger. Anyway, so let's fast forward to April 2017. My ex and I had broken up a few months earlier, and my friend was like, I want to go to this group fitness place. I want to lose some weight. Do you want to join me? And I was like, yep, sure. Why not? I'll give it a go. At this point, I had already lost, I think it was 5 kilos or nearly 5 kilos since the breakup, which was 2 or 3 months earlier. Literally just from like fixing up my diet. I wasn't going out to eat as much. I was just like changing up a few things, like nothing crazy. Like I had never heard of MyFitnessPal at this point. It was just, I just simply ate at home more and cooked for myself more. So that was that. We started training and stuff. And to me, it was still like, yeah, I want to lose weight, but I hadn't really thought about it. And then fast forward maybe 1 or 2 years, I dropped a little bit of weight. Maybe 10 kilos total at this point. So I was in the high 80s. I don't know how to say that. And then I found MyFitnessPal, and MyFitnessPal was like, it gives you the option of like, how much do you want to lose per week? And then it automatically calculates your calories. And so I started learning how to track calories, and I was doing all this on my own at this point, learning how to track calories, doing all the things. And then, I was looking online and, how much should I weigh, for my height and everything? And it was like 65 kilos. So I was like, okay, I've got a lot of weight to lose. So I was doing that for a while, and I was doing, over the next couple of years, I'm not going to go too deep into this because I do have my first ever episode of the podcast is about my health journey and my story and everything. But over the next couple of years, pretty much I had done so many challenges. I had cut my calories so low, and I was always chasing this 65 kilo number, right? And fun fact, actually, the start of 2020 was my brother's wedding, and I was pretty small for it. I borrowed a dress from my sisters, which I was like, I feel incredible about the fact that I can do that because I've never been able to fit into my sister's clothes prior to that. And now currently we can still share clothes. But I had never been able to fit into anything. So I borrowed this dress from my sisters. I felt really I was like, oh, I look so good. And everyone was like, you've lost so much weight. Like, you're looking so good. And it was amazing. But you can still also see, I didn't have any confidence. And I reckon I was about 70 kilos at this point, like the low 70s, somewhere around there. And like I said, I still didn't have really any confidence. I remember I fucking went ham on the drinks at this wedding. It was my brother's wedding, open bar. I was getting lit, why wouldn't you? But, double parking and always getting 2 drinks at a time. I was just not feeling confident enough to be there with all those people and not have any drinks in me. So that is one thing from it. If we fast forward, let's say, so that was January, fast forward to March or April, because that's when Melbourne went into our lockdowns. And I was in another 12-week challenge, even though I was fucking tiny at this point. Actually, it was so ridiculous. I was following a program, quote unquote program, that I was doing it was 12 to 1300 calories. I wasn't training because I had no energy to train. I literally had no energy to even get out of bed, a lot. And then we went into lockdown. So I was like, thank God I can't train. Now I can really focus on being really, critical of my food, watching every little thing that goes into my mouth. We're in lockdown. I can lose the weight in lockdown. And then when we come out, I'll be happy. I'll be confident. I'll be this whole different person. And when we did come out of lockdown, I was a bit of a different person, but for different reasons. So if we still stick to this April 2020, so about 3 years after I had started the weight loss journey, it got so deep, and all I could focus on was that 65 kilo number. I thought 65 kilos is going to make me so happy, right? At this point, I'm literally a couple of kilos off, and I'm thinking, I'm miserable, right? I was let's say I was 67 kilos. I'd just done an egg fast. I was doing all kinds of crazy fasts. I was surviving off black coffee until 1 p.m. I was, not eating all morning, barely eating for lunch. And then I was binging every night. I was binge drinking, binge eating because I wasn't eating enough to begin with. And then I would feel shit. And then I would say, all right, tomorrow I'm going to fast for longer. And then I would try and fast for longer. I would do 24-hour fasts. I would try and do a 30-hour fast. I would literally all this crazy unhinged things just to lose 2 kilos, just so I could say I was going to be quote unquote confident. And let me tell you, I've got a little list here. All the things I felt at that 67 kilo mark. So when I hit 67 kilos, that was amazing. It was like, woo, 30 kilo loss. I've hit this huge weight loss milestone. But then it was like, what's next, right? So at 67 kilos, I literally had no energy, no confidence. Like my self-worth was even lower. Like I let my ex, this was a different ex, by the way. I literally like let him abuse me. Like I had no libido. I had no fun at all. Like I said, I was binge eating, binge drinking. Like it was not a good time. I let people use and abuse me. And I literally just like the confidence was fucking zero. And I always thought that, you know, like I said, hitting 65 kilos, then I feel confident. And when I'd hit this point, I had stopped working. I refused to go out to eat when we could go out to eat. I was meant to go overseas, and then obviously I couldn't because it was lockdown. Like I said, I stopped working. My anxiety was at an all-time high. I was borderline depressed. There was a lot going on at this mid-2020 mark. And then I took it upon myself, did a couple of things. Maybe I'll go into it in a different episode, to kind of come out of that place where I was and kind of that hole where I was. And, you know, it took a lot of work, and it was hard. It was hard. And I feel like I'm going to cry again. Emotional. It was really, really hard to come out of that place. And, you know, I always think back to that 67 kilo version of me and just think, wow, she was just a little shell of a human. There was just like, I can't even imagine being her right now, because right now I sit at about 82 kilos, right? I literally put on 15 kilos because I needed to. My body needed me to do that. And when I look at deficits now, like I'm in a deficit now, it's never about like I have that goal weight of hitting 65 kilos, which is ridiculous, or I have that goal of losing 10 kilos by Christmas. Like that is not what the deficits are about now. Now I go into them with a goal of like, I just want to lose a little bit of the fluff. I don't know what that looks like in weight. Like we'll just kind of see, because again, muscle weighs more than fat. So in my deficit, I'm always trying to push hard for my PBs, always making sure I'm eating my protein, like just making sure like I'm really nailing everything. So like my weight hasn't been moving much in my last few deficits, but my body has been changing. And if I have always focused on that weight loss number, then I would literally be setting myself up to fail, because I'd be like, well, I'm not losing the weight and now I feel shit and it's not working. And then I would just, you know, hate the process, and then I would hate my life, and then I would restrict harder. Whereas if you look at it from a lens of like, I want to feel a certain way, you know, maybe I've let some habits slip. Maybe I need to drink some more water or eat some more vegetables, or maybe I just need to get back into the gym or back into walks or something like that. When you look at it through more of a health lens, you're more likely to actually succeed, because the weight loss is just a byproduct of it. It's exactly what I talk about with my clients. Weight loss is a byproduct of your daily habits, which is literally why I do with my clients exactly what I do with myself. Is we work on the fundamentals, we work on the basics, we work on hitting our steps, getting some movement in, hitting our water intake, getting sleep, like protein, veggies, eating enough food, like just getting the basics. So then when they go into the deficit, yes, some have a goal. And again, this is so specific to each human. Some have a goal weight they want to hit, but I will always talk to, okay, like this is what could be realistic for you. This is what we're going to focus on. All we need to do in the deficit that's different from your normal life is just lower some of the food. Like there is no reason to stress about it. Otherwise you're setting yourself up to fail. And I can read when someone's putting too much pressure on themselves, and I'll pull them straight out of it, because when you put that number, that time limit, whatever it is, on yourself to lose X amount of weight or do X thing by X date, it is really, really, really hard. You put too much pressure, and then it's harder to succeed. Like you're literally setting yourself up to fail. And there's nothing wrong. Like I said at the start, there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a goal and having a timeline, but it's about being realistic and about doing things in a healthy, sustainable way. So you're not burning yourself out in the process. So the same way you would with work, the same way you would with family, the same way you would with anything, you should treat your weight loss journey that same way. I kind of went on a tangent because I was talking to my 67 kilo self. I put on 15 kilos because I needed to. And where I am at now, right? 82 kilos. I'm always full of energy. I've the most confident I have ever been. I'm literally recording a podcast right now. I literally have a podcast, did a live podcast event. It's been 3 years of me coaching group fitness, standing up in front of a room on my own, you know, demonstrating, helping, coaching, doing all the things. I PT clients, you know, I go to retreats on my own. Last year, I traveled so many times into stay on my own. Like, I've done so many things that I would not have done had I not healed my relationship with food and my body and actually taken away that pressure and looked at what's actually healthy for me. And it was such a big process. Like I said, like 67 kilo me was in 2020. It's been 5 years, but it was such a process for me because I was trying to do it all on my own. But anyway, where I currently am, most confident I've ever been, my self-worth is so high. Like, I literally, like, if someone is just, like, if I'm not feeling it, if someone wants to hang out and I'm just not feeling that energy, I'm like, I'm not even bothering to try. Like, I am so protective of my peace now, and, you know, call that selfish, but I'm like, I feel so good and so balanced and so just healthy and balancing healthy. That's literally what the podcast is. But I just feel so much better as this human. And like I said, there's so many more things. I have so much more freedom. And it's like looking at that freedom with your food and that freedom with your body, it translates into freedom in your life. Because again, like I said, I was not even going out to eat. And now I'm like, guys, where are we going to go to eat? Or like, I'm so fucking excited to go and hang out with my friends and catch up. Like last week we had a housewarming and I'm in a deficit and we had tacos and lollies and clinkers. And I'm like, I'm so excited to go and see you guys and eat some yummy food and play some games, as opposed to 5 years ago when I was freaking the fuck out about leaving the house. I literally would have like been so distraught about not being able to track my food, or I would have like said to my friend, where's all the packaging so I can track it all? I would have literally eaten next to nothing. I would not have enjoyed myself with any lollies, any of the clinkers, or any of the games. Like, it just would have been like, it would be such a different experience. And I say this all the time. Like I just said, freedom with your body and freedom with your food, freedom with this health journey. When you can actually provide some more freedom, you feel so much freer in all areas of your life. Your confidence has increased. There's just so much to it. So if you can focus on the journey and not the destination, that would probably be my number one tip in all of this. But other things, I keep going on a tangent. Other things that I feel at this 82 kilos, again, I've got my list because I know I forget everything. My libido is up there, honestly, best it's ever been. You know, like I said, I do what I want with the ones that I love. I've got food freedom. I'm so happy. I'm so confident. The anxiety is very minimal. The ADHD is in control. That is something that I hadn't been diagnosed at that point 5 years ago, but I obviously had ADHD. It led to my anxiety, borderline depression, all the things. Now that the ADHD is in control, I've literally got next to no anxiety. Like, yes, some things make me anxious, but like I was like chronically anxious. Like, anything like put me on edge. So that's all in control. I'm not fucking depressed anywhere near it. There's just so much good that has come from this. And that's why I want to speak about it on this episode today, because I just think it's such an important message. Like I said, especially coming into summer and coming into, like, you know, wearing a bikini or wearing the shorts or whatever the thing is. I think it's really, really, really important. And of course, like, I've got my 12-week challenge I'm running at the moment as well. And yes, it's a challenge, but it's not about who's losing X amount of weight in the 12 weeks. I literally had a consult call with every single woman that signed up to the challenge. We spoke through their previous eating history, training history, all the things, any binge eating patterns. Like, I found patterns in them through those calls that I was like, we are not ready for a deficit. Like, if you are showing me that you can't, you know, eat breakfast, eat a full day of eating, if you go into a binge every couple of days, like, there's no way I'm putting you in a deficit. So for some of them, it's just about learning to eat more food and learning healthier habits. And they're already starting to drop some weight because, like I said, the weight loss is a byproduct of it. Like, the weight loss isn't the focus, but it's happening because they're not binging as much, because they're focusing on the other things and they're focusing on what makes them feel good and therefore more confidence. So that is where my challenge comes into it. But I totally forgot like the whole reason I brought that up. But anyway, lessons to take from this episode. First one is to change your mindset from being weight loss focused to being health focused. Like I've said about 1,000 times already, if you can take that pressure off and you can just focus on how you feel as opposed to how you look, yes, your body will still change. If you are training well, even 2-3 times a week, and you're eating to your food, like if you're, for example, in a challenge like my girls are, if they're doing their training and they're eating to the food I've given them, even if their weight doesn't move, which it will because I know it will, even if it doesn't move, their body will be changing. So it's something that, again, so important. I've got them doing measurements and photos at the start, the 4-week mark, 8-week mark, and then at the 12-week mark, because that is something that I wish I had more of as well. When I was so focused on weight loss, all I focused on was the scales, literally not a single other thing. Whereas I wish I'd done regular photos, I'd done regular measurements, and just kept more on top of everything. So that's something that's really important as well. So just looking at health-focused things, healthy habits, what you can do to feel better, and then the weight will fall off as a byproduct. The second one is to stop putting so much pressure or a time limit or a timeline on yourself. Yes, like I said, it is good to lose weight, and, potentially you want to lose a certain amount of weight for summer, but this is something that, you probably should have thought of a few months ago, in the depths of winter when you were not going to the gym because you couldn't be bothered, or not going for a walk because you couldn't be bothered, or like, I'll just start again next week or next month or whatever. That's something you should have thought of back then. Again, another saying I always say is think of your future self, like do something for future you. So like the winter you should have been thinking about the summer you, and then you could have started working on those healthy habits, all the things. So then you could have gone into a deficit now, hit September, do 10, 12 weeks, finish mid-November, start to reverse, and then you're good for summer and Christmas. So that's something that, again, stop putting the pressure on yourself. Yes, it might be a bit later now to lose a certain amount by the end of the year, but you can lose a little bit and then go back into that maintenance phase, and then you can continue to drop again, go into another challenge or whatever you want to call it, January, February next year, and just continue to do it that way. So that was my second one. And my last lesson from this is not really a lesson, but like if you do need help, you need someone in your corner. This is what I said. This is exactly what I work on with my clients. Send me a message on Instagram. I literally don't bite, guys. I didn't say, actually, I was meant to say it. I was literally singing to this microphone. Like, I'm going to post it to my stories, and if you see it, you're welcome. I'm going to post it once I finish recording this episode. But like, I'm the most chill freaking human ever. And that's the energy I put with my clients too. Like, we do things really pulled back, really slow. Actually, at the time of recording this, I've got a call with them in 2 days for my challenge, which is all about overcoming binge eating and late night snacking. So that is something that, you get access to, whether you're a one-on-one client or you join my group membership, Balancing Her. You get access to the monthly calls, current, past, future, the calls, the challenges, all the things like that. So I'm going to leave that there. If any of that interests you, there are different tiers for a reason. So if you're a bit budget conscious, especially coming into Christmas, let me know, send me a message. Ask me a question, there's anything, or even just message me your goals and, how, if you're like, how could you help me, or what could we do, or like you just kind of want to know more about me or my coaching or how I can help you, then absolutely please send me a message and we can absolutely chat about it. But I'm going to love you and leave you here. Thank you so much for listening or watching this podcast episode. I really, 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 really appreciate you guys always, and I hope you got something out of this. I'm sure someone did. But yeah, I'm going to leave you there. As always, a like, follow, subscribe, depending on the platform you're on, is always so appreciated. And if you want to rate me a 5 stars, I would love that as well, because the more we share the podcast, the more people's ears I can reach. So thank you guys so much for listening, watching. I hope you have a beautiful morning, day, night, whenever you are listening to this. And I'll see you in next week's episode. Bye.